Welcome to another episode with Trippin' Around Oz. Today we're going to be showing you just some general bits and pieces from when we went up to the Cape. So we've done a lot of videos showing specific tracks. This video, however, is a little bit different. It's just showing you the random bits and pieces on the way up. You'll notice on all the other videos there are some really cool creek crossings. There's tracks that everyone knows about. However, what you might not know is on the way up, just driving up in general, there are some really nice creek crossings. It's not all boring dirt road. So stay tuned and let us know what you think in the comments. When watching dashcam footage, you should always, just to get an idea of how steep it is, because it's very hard to tell, have a look at the horizon and then have a look at the way the car is bouncing or the angle the car is on, and that'll give you a bit of an idea as to how steep that bit of track is. I would really love to know what your favourite type of forward drive track is, especially when you go up to the Cape. There are so many different types. For me personally, I don't really like the big steep hill climbs. Dion doesn't mind them, but for me, I'm not a big fan of heights. I do, however, love water crossings. It's a bit obviously more technically difficult sometimes because you can't see what you're driving over, but I just think that it's just really peaceful, and there's just so many variations of water crossings, especially when you go up to the Cape. So keep that in mind when you're up there. There's always something new around the next corner. Here you can see an accurate depiction of the red dust roads that everyone talks about. Now these would be absolutely crazy during peak times. We went just before the school holidays, so we did miss a lot. What happens is when another car comes in the opposite direction, they actually kick up that much dust that it's very difficult to see where you're going. And we were traveling in a convoy of 6 cars. And there were a few times where if we'd had a really, really dry day, we would pull over to the side and we would literally have each car leave about a minute apart so that we would be far enough apart that we could actually see, because the dust will have settled by the time the car in front had, obviously gone through, but we were close enough that we could all still talk on the radios to each other to warn each other down the convoy line that there were obstacles coming up. Even on the normal roads up to the top, there are plenty of washouts. There are dips that sneak up on you, and really if you're in a convoy, the best thing to do is the person who's in front can relay back that up around the next corner there's a big washout. If you go to the left, that will be easier than if you go to the right, and that just really helps the other members of your convoy get through the track safely. Remember all the cool water crossings I said you'll see along the way? Check this one out. Depending on what tracks you take or what part of the season you go in, you may go down a track or a bit of a track where no one has been for 12 months. This means that you may have to do some track building or some track clearing. By that I mean it's fantastic if you have a chainsaw or just a handsaw with you. There will be trees over the road, and sometimes you do need to actually, get the saw out and remove them so that you can get through safely without, damaging any of the cars. This is completely fine. Generally the tree has died and you're not doing any damage to the living trees around it. And as long as you keep everything nice and clean and don't damage the trees on the side of the road, there's nothing wrong with this. You may be wondering about internet capacity while you're driving up to the Cape. Pretty much get ready to unplug from the world. There's not a lot of internet up there, and when you do run across it, it's generally that you can get Wi-Fi at some of the roadhouses along the way. Most of the time you have to pay for it though, and it is quite expensive. So, it's all right just to check a couple of emails, maybe check in with home, but don't think you'll be streaming movies or anything off the Wi-Fi that you can get. So just keep that in mind. Okay, let's talk groceries when you're up the Cape. It's a great idea to have your car with enough food for a couple of days, especially if you are to get stuck. However, if you're not getting stuck and you're just doing a trip up there, there are plenty of places along the way that do groceries. We never really found that there was anything in particular we couldn't get that we needed. The main issue is the expense. Getting groceries up there is quite expensive, and there's basically a Cape tax on everything. So you can expect to pay, $6 or $8 for a block of chocolate. Fruit and vegetables, obviously very expensive as well. So just maybe add a little bit more to your budget to account for these things. When you get to the top, up to the Jardine, you'll be paying double what you would pay back at home for alcohol. So it's something you really need to take into account when budgeting for this trip, because it's probably the most expensive part aside from fuel. See this stick through the sidewall of our friend's tyre? This is the sort of thing that can happen on a track. Please make sure that you have a puncture repair kit and that you have at least one, preferably 2 spare tyres with you. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, guys. We really do appreciate it. We are wrapping up our Cape series now. We will have an additional video on the cars we took up and the upgrades they had done, so stay tuned for that. But otherwise, we do have some new adventures planned and we'll obviously be sharing them. So please like this video and subscribe to our channel to keep up to date. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.